Welcome back to the How to Finesse podcast, episode 6. I am your host, the Jackal, aka the Finesse Father, and this episode I'm going to show you how I finessed a Katy Perry model. So I'm doing real estate in New York. I'm making good money, but I kept getting people from Atlanta telling me, yo, you need to come down here. It's poppin', it's the Black Hollywood. You can really do amazing things down here. So me being always open to new opportunities and new experiences, I decided to move back to Atlanta. I had family there. Of course, I was raised there, so I had some friends there as well. So it was something that I wasn't really looking forward to because I kind of felt like if I went back and I hadn't made it yet, then I was a failure. But at the end of the day, if it's popping down there, I'm gonna be there. So I didn't do real estate in Atlanta. I could have, because with my license in New York, Georgia was one of the states that I could actually switch over to, but I had to pay some fees and I think take another class or something. So I was just like, I need some fast money now. So I went and got, of course, a serving job. So I'm in Atlanta. Of course, I'm only working at the most exclusive high-end restaurants, steak houses, places where celebrities go, because once again, place yourself in that environment for you to succeed. Working at some of these restaurants, I was one of the best sellers, one of the top performers every week. I mean, my name was at the top of the list. Highest grossing sales, biggest tips. This let me know that this was something I was good at. But of course, there's always gonna be some people that are gonna hate. Unfortunately, these haters happen to be, of course, some coworkers, but also my managers. I literally had one manager tell me, why are your tips percentages so high? Something must be off. Looks fishy to me. And then I had another manager say to me, oh, you know your name's at the top of the list. If I were you, I wouldn't stay at the top or the bottom because that brings too much attention to you. I would stay somewhere right in the middle. Bruh. So I just had one manager tell me that she didn't believe how good I was doing by my tip percentages. And then I had another one tell me that don't be a high performer, just be mediocre. Bruh. So at this point, here's another finesse factor.
The finesse factor.
React internally. Of course, I could have said, what do you mean I'm the top performer? I'm not listening to you. I'm supposed to do good. Are you hating on me or something? And I could have said, why would I want to be in the middle? But they wanted to see me react. They wanted to break me. And I didn't do it. I smiled, kept it moving, and I reacted internally. In my head, I said, screw you, y'all are pieces of shit. So I hopped around a bunch of restaurants. I usually stayed at a restaurant maybe 3 to 6 months, make some good money, learn a few things, and then move. However, when I was working at these restaurants, I was learning a lot about life and culture and fine dining, class, and stuff like that. For instance, I learned about a whole bunch of wines that I never knew before. I learned about 5-star cuisine and just an overall class and how to carry myself, because people who were going to these restaurants were sophisticated, well-traveled, and they've been all over the world. So by me seeing them on a daily basis, I was able to pick up on how they carried themselves in a professional, graceful manner. Body language was very important. So here's another finesse factor.
Finesse factor.
Stroke the hand that feeds you. I know you guys know the saying, never bite the hand that feeds you, which means if someone's doing a lot for you, you should never screw them over. My version of that is, if the person is taking care of you, take care of them. You know, stroke the hand that feeds you. Do something good for them, make them feel good. You'll get a lot from that. For instance, if you're a server or have ever been a server, comment down below and let me know which restaurants you worked at. So if you're a server, you know, the best schedules for most places are dinner shifts. That's when people are buying steaks, they're drinking a lot of wine, drinking a lot of alcohol, and a lot of money is spent, so you want to get those dinner shifts. Who makes the schedule? The person who feeds you. So you want to stroke them, your boss. Always ask how they're doing, be nice to them, be easy to work with, don't be a hassle. And eventually, you know, they'll fit you into the best schedule. So what did I learn at restaurants besides just learning how to serve people? So by being around so many people and having to talk to so many strangers throughout the day, I eventually became super comfortable and even confident when it came to talking to strangers. So I never had an issue starting a conversation, approaching someone, or knowing what to say around strangers. I also learned, which is really important, how to small talk. So for me, small talk is like the background music in a movie that keeps it from being boring. So this is stuff that's general, like, you know, the game last night, or how the Falcons are doing, or what movies are out, you know, general topics and stuff that people might be engaged in to keep the energy flowing and from being stale. I became a pro at small talk, which can get you really far. So here's another finesse factor.
Finesse factor.
Be comfortable in your environment, especially your social environment. This is super important because if you're uncomfortable and you're anxious, it shows in your body language and on your face, and people around you can tell, and you can become unapproachable without you even saying one word. So I'm making some decent money in Atlanta, working at these restaurants, networking here and there. And then what do you know? I bump into an old associate from New York. He was a former model. I knew him working at Hollister or something like that. And I think we went out clubbing before. So his name was Richie Nuz. Ended up working at the same restaurant as I was. I actually saw him walk in one day and I was like, what the heck? I know you from New York. That's cool. He was famous for being in a Katy Perry music video as like a model. This music video had like hundreds of millions of views. So he had a pretty cool fan base and lots of followers on Instagram. He had a rich Italian dad, which is hilarious. His dad reminded me of somebody from The Sopranos, and they owned a big ice company in Long Island. The ice company was featured on an episode of The Sopranos. So this is like life imitating art or art imitating life. It's just weird. I used to hang out with Richie. He had a really nice house in Buckhead. I used to go over his house, hang out. He played a trumpet. I found out he was actually a singer. He was decent too. But every time I would go over his house, he would ask me to like take a picture of him or edit this video or send this email or what do you think about this or how do you feel about that? And I'm like, bro, chill out, calm down. I just came over here to hang out. You're my friend. I'm not trying to do all that other stuff. But I saw potential in him and I saw an opportunity for me to get some experience in the management field. So I told him, hey, sign this paper and I'll manage you. And that became the first client that I ever managed, which was a major life-changing experience for me. Now I'm entering the creative field in a professional manner with somebody who I think I could break. So I started managing him. Of course, I had to meet with his family. And what was my job immediately? This guy was known for being like a semi-famous model. He had a bunch of fans that were like girls and that liked him for his over-sexualized image. So my job as his new manager was to totally revamp, reinvent him, get rid of all those shirtless pictures of him with his abs out, looking too sexy, you know, with underwear on and stuff like that, clean that up and make him look like a real pop/R&B singer. This wasn't as easy as that looked. If you Googled his name a few years ago, you would see all kinds of scandalous photos. So we actually had to hire somebody who specialized in deleting photos off of the internet and putting better, cleaner, fresher images up. Crazy. His name is Mike Hogan. Shout out to Mike Hogan. I actually used him for my company for a little bit too. Yeah, I took this over-sexualized image, refreshed it, repackaged it. We did everything from took new photos, new logo, new website, new music, new album art, new videos. I mean, we hired an attorney. I mean, the full on. And of course, his dad had a little bread, so his dad funded everything. We put together a nice package. I mean, had everything he needed for his image. He was packaged right. He looked like a superstar R&B singer now. Come to find out, Ryan Leslie is one of Richie's favorite artists. I mean, what a coincidence of that. You already know I got the connect from the Mercer and I've been texting him. So it was like, boom, this is meant to be. Immediately, of course, reached out to Ryan. I connected them. We set up a phone call. Next thing you know, we're on the phone talking to Ryan Leslie. He's telling us about this new independent artist app that he created, this whole platform where you can own your whole audience and do some crazy things. And we were like, okay, that's cool. We really trying to get signed, but whatever, what's up with this? So we listened to him. Here's another finesse factor.
The finesse factor.
Listen. Even when you want to talk or you feel excited to interject and say something that may add value to the conversation, if you're trying to learn something or if you're trying to gain leverage, always say less than necessary. Just listen. If you listen, you can find out more information and you'll be more prepared on how to react. So we start talking to Ryan and he tells us about this new app, this new platform he has for independent artists. It's exclusive and he's willing to give us an opportunity to sign up on it and it costs $750. So immediately my artist is like, oh no, is this a scam? Why do we have to pay? And in my head, I'm like, yo, pay the $750. What's the worst that can happen? He has a bunch of money. What does he need our money for? So we had to go back and forth with his father, whether it was real or not, doubting me or whether or not I really had the connect. And at the end of the day, they kicked in the bread though, and we got that app and it was crazy. So the name of this app/platform was Disruptive Multimedia. Now it's called Superphone. But we were one of 10 celebrities in the world who had this app. Some of the other celebrities were 50 Cent, Nipsey Hussle, Talib Kweli, and we started doing some traction on this app. It was basically a way for fans to text their favorite celebrity. You could text a celebrity, you could shop in their store, and you feel more connected to them. One-on-one, direct-to-customer relationship. So we started doing numbers. We got personal emails from Ryan Leslie himself saying, yo, you guys are killing the platform. We started selling a bunch of merch. I mean, we were selling autographed photos of this guy. We were selling Skype phone calls at like $10 a minute. I mean, we made thousands of dollars within like the first month. So this was proven to us that, hey, in the music industry, you could do it yourself. And if you have a following, you just gotta know how to monetize it. So we sold a bunch of merch, made a bunch of contacts. We even made so much money to where we could fund our own trip to New York to film a music video. I mean, we brought our assistants with us. So when we were in New York, of course, you know, his family's wealthy or whatever. So his aunt actually was a famous artist and she lived in Soho. So she let us use like her huge $1 million loft. She had a bunch of expensive art hanging around there. Her name was Carol Froyleman. So we stayed there, we had a nice base. I remember inviting my friends to his aunt's house one night. It was crazy, I shouldn't have done that. We did a party. The next morning I wake up and one of the priceless pieces of art, the whole head broke off and was on the floor. So in my head, I'm like, oh my gosh, what are we gonna do? His aunt is gonna kill me. And that was just a hilarious story. We ended up riding down Broadway in the New York City taxi cab with the head in our lap to go give it to his aunt and apologize. So things started getting weird once we were in New York. We had an intern with us, which her name was to be undisclosed, and she just started getting a little bit too comfortable in her position, and she didn't know her position. Like, she would start interjecting, giving too many ideas that weren't on the same page as what we were going for. She would start providing unwanted feedback, interrupting, kind of just not knowing her role. Like, yeah, it's great to have ideas as an intern, but know when it's the right time to present them, because you never want to throw off what people have going on. So I remember exactly, I was sitting in the Mercer kitchen where Kanye and everybody else is, in the lobby, chilling, and we're going over some phone calls, and she starts getting an attitude with me about how I'm telling her to speak to the people. She's trying to be extra nice and be understanding and all that. I'm like, yeah, that's cool, but we have a bunch of calls to get through, so we need to be more efficient, and you need to be quicker with the calls. She couldn't take my criticism, couldn't take my feedback, and started going back and forth with me about what she thinks is right and blah, blah, blah. At the end of the day, here's another finesse factor.
Finesse factor.
Cut ties swiftly. I could have went back and forth with her, suspended her or whatever. We had actually flown her out to New York with us, all expenses paid, and she was still ungrateful and trying to do what she wanted to do. So right there in the Mercer kitchen, I said, you're fired. We don't need you anymore. Thank you for your help so far. Find your way back home. People said, oh, you left her in New York like that, that's wrong. No, she became poison to what we had going on. And when those snakes are in the grass, you gotta beat those snakes out swiftly. Otherwise, they could ruin your whole plan. We had a great time in New York. We finished our music video. We filmed it. We had a great time sightseeing. Just, getting to feel more cultured and being back in New York was amazing for me. But when we got back to Atlanta, things started getting weird. His father started questioning why I fired her, how much we need her, and how good she's gonna be, how we need to bring her back. And I was just disagreeing. Then his mother started getting involved and how I wasn't good. And then his friends, and then another assistant, everybody literally started emailing him and saying, this guy is the reason why you're not gonna get ahead. Be careful, we think you would be better without him. This sucker fell for the whole thing and actually had the nerve to fire me for no reason, even though we had a contract in place. On the next episode, you're gonna find out what made me start this whole magic music thing, how I started this whole big company and went from managing one artist to managing multiple artists and servicing a whole roster of celebrity clients, how I started managing radio talent in Atlanta, how I started managing TV talent, all the secrets in Atlanta, how it really is Black Hollywood. Appreciate all my finesses out there for tuning in this week. I will see you next week on the How to Finesse podcast. I'm out.